Live Living Color here, folks, on Sports Talk Nation. Michael Cohen here with you, and on this video, we are going to talk about NFL training camp kicking off this week. That's right, the New York Jets. They opened up training camp today, in fact, here on July 25th in Florham Park, and all the talk and all after such a busy offseason this year for the Jets, from the new uniform reveal to the controversy over Mike McCagnon's firing, whether it was a power play by Adam Gase or not. That was a big debate a couple months ago. Then the hiring of Joe Douglas as the new GM of this team. And of course, all the additions, all the free agent additions, from Le'Veon Bell to C.J. Mosley. It was a busy offseason for the New York Jets and for Gang Green. So now, all the focus, and after all that talk, now the focus will shift right to training camp, into this team, and to the start of the 2019 season. All right, so one of the biggest keys, obviously, here for the Jets here in 2019, and really the biggest key that we have to watch here in training camp is, obviously, the quarterback situation with Sam Darnold. And this is now all eyes on him. With Adam Gase now in town, you have a head coach who is been an offensive, at least in the minds of some anyway, even though the results weren't there in Miami, considered by some an offensive guru for that matter. A lot of that people are pointing to his time in Denver with Peyton Manning, although I've said in many other shows and previously to this that a lot of that credit should go to Peyton Manning, obviously. But that is what a lot of the talk is right now, of course, with this head coach, a guy who is an offensive head coach, something the Jets have not had in a very, very long time. Especially a guy who works so closely with quarterbacks. Can we see Sam Darnold transition from being the rookie quarterback to taking the next step? And we've seen, a lot of quarterbacks, sometimes they take another year to really get going. Some quarterbacks a little bit quicker in their second year. Obviously, again, I'm going to reference again Peyton Manning again. His first year threw a ton of interceptions. Second year, cut those interceptions down, and that team went from 3-13 to 13-3. Now, I don't think that's going to happen here with the Jets. I don't see them winning 13 games this year, obviously. This is going to be a year for Sam Darnold to see if he can come into his own. Let's see at those last 4 games to the end of last year against Houston, against Buffalo, against Green Bay, where he played very, very good football. Let's see if that can continue. Let's see if that was something that he can build off of going forward here into 2019. So obviously the quarterback and how he progresses in this offense and how he commands this offense is going to be the biggest key of all here for the Jets this year. Another big key to watch this year are the pieces and how these pieces are going to work with Darnold. Now, one of the big concerns I have for the Jets going into this year is their offensive line. Now, the Jets did go out there and they did bring in Kelechi Osemele from the Oakland Raiders to help them out at left guard, but really, other than that, there really wasn't a lot done to fix this offensive line. It's basically the same offensive line that we saw last year. Jonathan Harrison is at center, and one of the big sticking points between Gase and McCagnon was the center position. Gase wanted to improve it. McCagnon did not. Obviously, McCagnon won out in that debate, and Harrison is going to be the center, at least for now. And again, we're here in training camp now, so to sit here and say, hey, they just can go out there and get on a starting center, it's not going to be that easy. So it's going to be Harrison's job to keep. So the offensive line, I think, is something to really pay attention to here for the Jets this year. Can this unit show some improvement from where they were last year? They're going to need to, especially in protecting this young quarterback. Obviously, the weapons, you look around here, you have Le'Veon Bell in the mix now. He is, from everything that we're hearing, has extra added motivation to prove people wrong about what happened with his situation in Pittsburgh, where he held out for the year last year. He wants to prove people wrong that he can still go out there and be a top 5 running back in this league. We're going to find out very, very quickly, certainly when we get to the regular season, how true that is. Now, are we going to see a lot of Le'Veon Bell in preseason? Probably not. I'm sure that Adam Gase and the coaching staff will limit his carries just a little bit, just to make sure he has fresh legs for the season. But certainly by the third preseason game, we're going to see a little more of Le'Veon Bell at that point. But also, I really like the depth they have running back. Ty Montgomery, coming from the Green Bay Packers, a guy who could play both a little bit of receiver, a little bit of running back. Bilal Powell comes back. That was a nice addition, nice job by the Jets to bring him back into the mix. So running back, not an issue for the Jets going into this year. Receiver, and I know a lot of people say, well, the Jets don't have that big-time receiver, but they do have now 3 guys that, if they are all healthy, could be solid receivers for this team. Robbie Anderson, if he can keep his head straight, guy has a lot of talent. and he is a burner down the sideline. Quincy Enunwa, very good possession receiver. Jamison Crowder comes over from the Redskins, so there's some high expectation there that he could be, again, like Enunwa, a nice possession receiver, especially a guy down the middle. So there is a lot of potential there. Concern again, Chris Herndon, suspended first 4 games. We'll see how that affects the passing game. It could have an effect on the pass game, probably will, at least for the first quarter of the season. So you take a look. Again, another big key, second big key here for the Jets in training camp, making sure all these pieces that they have put together can come together and work, especially on the offense for this quarterback. Next key number 3, and that is defense, defense, and more defense. And the Jets completed a contract agreement with Quinn Williams, their rookie first-round pick. They did that on Thursday afternoon, so he's signed, sealed, and delivered. 4 years, $32.5 million. With a little more than $21 million in signing bonus. He is expected to unseat Steve McClendon for the top spot at nose tackle. We'll see how he does there. He's got two. He's going to have a couple of big veteran guys next to him, and Henry Anderson, who had a big year last year rushing the passer. Leonard Williams, who's in a walk year and needs to have a big year this year for the Jets. So with a 3-4 defense, going to be very interesting to see how this defense works. You have C.J. Mosley now in the mix here, middle linebacker, along with a veteran from last year, Avery Williamson. So, not bad, front 7. The concern, and this is a big part of that key for the defense, what's going to happen in the secondary for the Jets this year? And that's what they have to figure out here in training camp with Greg Williams, with this coaching staff on the defense. Who is going to step up at cornerback? We all know how good Jamal Adams can be. Marcus May coming off of an injury. The expectation is that he is going to be getting back to his high-level play. But Darryl Roberts is basically a novice there at cornerback. And Tremaine Johnson coming off a horrible year. His first year after that big contract that he signed last season. So they have a problem there at cornerback. And again, like the offensive line, it's going to be very, very difficult to find top corners at this point in the year. So you're basically going to have to sink and swim with what you got. So it's a big year for the corners. Can they prove in training camp that the Jets have that solidified? Otherwise, that's going to be a problem for them throughout the course of this year. Another big key here for this team, again, it's Adam Gase. Adam Gase, because for me, folks, here's a guy who was 23 and 25 in 3 years with the Miami Dolphins. Did not have a lot of success in Miami, as we all know. I had a lot of people questioned his relationships with a lot of people in the front office there in Miami. He had his run-ins with the owner. He had some run-ins with players. How has he adjusted and changed since his time in Miami to now with the Jets? We all know what happened here with the general manager situation here with Maccagnan. He won a power struggle. A lot of people now know that this guy has a lot more power in the front office and clout, say on the roster now, with his so-called buddy Joe Douglas now running the team here as a general manager, than he did with Mike Maccagnan. So he won that battle. Now the question is he going to be a guy that's going to get in the face of players on a regular basis? Is he going to be a guy that's going to have issues with players like he did in Miami? That's what we have to watch here and find out. Everyone's saying the right things right now. Everyone's in a good mood. If you've seen the One Jets Drive documentaries on the Jets on the NewYorkJets.com the last couple weeks, Gase is saying all the right things about all his guys. It's easy to get pumped up and excited. We'll see what happens when the nitty-gritty comes. But you know what? You have to hope that with a roster that certainly compared to Miami is a better roster, you would have to think that there will be an improvement here for Gase, maybe that he has learned something from his past mistakes. You like the fact that he brought in a guy like Greg Williams, who was incredibly impressive. I don't know if anybody heard this press conference a couple months ago, but he was incredibly impressive in that press conference. Definitely worth a listen if you haven't heard that. And he is going to be, basically, as Gase said at the start of the year, the head coach of the defense. He's going to rely on him a lot. And maybe he'll take some pressure off of him a little bit. So I think Adam Gase, how he manages this team and manages players, is going to be the biggest key of all here in training camp and going into the season. Playoffs.
What's that?
That's right. I said it.
Playoffs?
Playoffs.
We'll talk about playoffs?
That's a big question mark. And, Gase kind of put the bullseye on the Jets just a little bit when he said that he expects to play some serious football in December, and we'll have to wait and see how that happens. Jets do have a very tough schedule to start the year. They got 2 games to the Patriots within the first 6 weeks of the season. You have the Eagles, Cowboys, you have the Jaguars, who aren't going to be easy down in Jacksonville, Cleveland, who everyone loves. I don't, but everyone loves Cleveland. Not going to be an easy schedule to start the year. We'll see if the Jets can stay afloat and keep themselves in the mix for at that point, and whether they are going to play serious football come November, December, and keep themselves in contention. The history, of course, with the Jets lately, with first-year head coaches, is that they do have a very good record, have a tendency to get into the playoffs. Todd Bowles, first year, 10-6. We all know what happened, where they missed the playoffs in that final game in Buffalo in 2015. Rex Ryan's first year, the team went to the AFC Championship game. Eric Mangini's first year, team went to the playoffs. Herman Edwards, same thing, went to the playoffs. So we'll see whether that's going to hold tight for Adam Gase here in his first year with the Jets, but it has been an 8-year drought. 8 years since the New York Jets have been to the postseason, and we will find out whether they're ready to make that leap or not. Keep in mind, still Patriots division, and they're still the favorites to win this division no matter what, but the Jets coming into training camp feeling pretty good about themselves. They have improved this roster certainly greatly compared to last year, and the expectations are now high for this team as we go into the season. Of course, a couple notes I want to make. A couple notes here, folks. Saturday, July 27th, I will be at training camp in Florham Park. I'm going to have 2 trips there. I'm going to have the trip on the 27th of July, and then in 2 weeks from now, on August 11th, which is their last open practice for the public before in training camp. And we'll try to do something similar to what we did with the spring training videos with the Mets. May not be that easy. I did read online that they will allow you to take photos, but videos are prohibited. But we'll do something. We'll have a nice little recap, if you will, of our day in training camp, and give you kind of a synopsis of what we see and observe. So watch out for that here on the Sports Talk Nation. Again, folks, it's your home for everything New York, New Jersey sports. Remember to like and subscribe right here on the YouTube channel right here. If you just kill that like and subscribe button right here. And then remember to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/OpenMicProgram, and on Twitter @OpenMicNJ. We'll talk to you next time right here on the Sports Talk Nation.